Are you struggling to understand why someone in your life makes seemingly inexplicable decisions? Baby Reindeer, the acclaimed Netflix series, offers a powerful solution. By exploring how trauma shapes our behaviors, we can develop greater empathy and understanding for others. Baby Reindeer is no ordinary show. It's a raw, unflinching look at the harsh realities of trauma and its long-lasting effects on our lives. Through the story of Donny Dunn, played by Richard Gadd, who, by the way, is who Donny is based on, we see how a single act of kindness can spiral into a nightmare of stalking and obsession. But this series goes even deeper, revealing Donny's past traumas and how they compound his current struggles. It raises a crucial question. How does trauma influence the way we think, feel, and act? And who am I to guide you through this journey, and why does it matter? My name is Dr. Sulman Aziz Mirza, triple board certified in adult psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and addiction medicine, and I am still waiting for Netflix to make a true crime series about my life. The secrets that I have. Ooh. Before starting off, it goes without saying, we are going to be diving into spoilers for the show, as well as be aware of the numerous trigger warnings regarding stalking, sexual abuse, and sexual assault. It's a heavy show that doesn't pull any punches, and I'll try not to either. Let's jump in. As we step into the world of Baby Reindeer, we find ourselves walking alongside Donny Dunn, a man whose life has been shaped by the scars of his past. Through his eyes, we see how trauma can take hold, refusing to let go even as the years pass by. It all starts with a simple act of kindness. Donny offers a helping hand to Martha, a woman who seems lost and alone. But what begins as a gesture of goodwill quickly turns into a nightmare. Martha becomes obsessed with Donny, stalking him relentlessly. She bombards him with emails, voicemails, and letters, invading every corner of his life. As the harassment escalates, we see Donny struggling to cope. He's haunted not just by Martha's actions, but by the ghosts of his own past. The show reveals that Donny was once groomed and sexually assaulted by Darian, a mentor he trusted. This trauma, buried deep within him, is brought to the surface by Martha's stalking. It's a painful journey to watch, but an important one. Baby Reindeer shows us the raw, unfiltered reality of what it means to live with trauma. We see how it can affect every aspect of a person's life, from their relationships to their sense of self. Donny pushes away those who care about him, unable to let them in. He's trapped in a cycle of fear and mistrust, always waiting for the next attack. But the show doesn't just focus on the pain. It also shines a light on the incredible resilience of survivors. Donny fights back against his trauma, refusing to let it define him. He speaks out about his experiences, using his voice to help others who have suffered in silence. During the courageous monologue we see in the penultimate episode, which was secretly recorded and went viral when it was uploaded to YouTube. Through Donny's story, Baby Reindeer teaches us about the many faces of trauma. It can come from a single devastating event, like sexual assault, or it can build up over time, chipping away at a person's spirit with each cruel word or action. The effects can linger for years, even decades, shaping the way a person sees the world and themselves. But the show also reminds us that healing is possible. With support, understanding, and a whole lot of courage, survivors like Donny can reclaim their lives. They can learn to trust again, to love again, to hope again. So as we watch Baby Reindeer, let's not just see it as a story of one man's pain. Let's see it as a call to action, a reminder that we all have a role to play in supporting survivors. By learning about trauma, by listening to those who have lived through it, we can create a world where no one has to suffer in silence. But what about Martha, the woman who stalked Donny so relentlessly? Is she simply a villain, a monster to be feared and hated? Or is there more to her story than meets the eye? As we look deeper into Martha's story, Baby Reindeer challenges us to see beyond the surface of her actions. It would be easy to write her off as a villain, a one-dimensional character who exists only to torment Donny. But the show refuses to take the easy way out. Instead, it invites us to consider the complex web of factors that led Martha to where she is. Through the series of 7 episodes, we learn that she, too, has been shaped by trauma. A lifetime of abuse and neglect has left her desperate for connection, for someone to see her and value her. In Donny's act of kindness, she sees a glimmer of hope, a chance to finally be loved. But Martha's trauma has also left her ill-equipped to handle relationships in a healthy way. She doesn't know how to set boundaries, how to respect Donny's autonomy. Her obsession is a misguided attempt to fill the void inside of her, to cling to the one person who showed her a moment of care. It's a heartbreaking portrayal, one that forces us to confront the complicated reality of abuse and neglect. Martha is not a monster, but a person who has been deeply damaged by the cruelty of others. Her actions are wrong, but they are also the product of a society that fails to protect and support its most vulnerable members. Baby Reindeer asks us to extend empathy to people like Martha, even as we condemn their harmful behaviors. It shows us that behind every villain is a human being with a story, with wounds that need healing. By taking the time to understand these experiences, we can begin to break the cycle of trauma and abuse. But the show doesn't stop there. It also models what it looks like to support someone who has been through trauma. Donny's loved ones rally around him, offering a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on. They validate his feelings and remind him that he is not alone. No one who has watched the show had a dry eye when his father shared his own story of being sexually abused as a child in the Catholic Church. It's a powerful example of what trauma-informed care can look like. By treating survivors with compassion and respect, we can help them feel seen and valued. We can create a safe space for them to share their stories and begin the long, difficult process of healing. But what happens when we fail to extend that empathy? What happens when we question a survivor's actions, demanding to know why they didn't do things differently? What happens when we end up victim blaming? Have you ever found yourself asking a friend who's been through something terrible, why didn't you just leave? Or why didn't you just tell someone sooner? It's a question that comes up right away in the opening scene of the show, as Donny struggles to get the police to understand why he didn't report Martha's stalking right away. We see it in scenes where Donny's loved ones question his choices. They ask why he waited 6 whole months to speak up, why he didn't just block Martha's calls and emails, why he didn't do more to protect himself. And with each question, we see Donny shrink a little more, his shame and guilt growing. But here's the thing, asking why didn't you just is a dangerous question. It might seem harmless, like we're just trying to understand, but to someone who's been through trauma, it can feel like an accusation. Like we're saying they did something wrong, that they're to blame for what happened to them. The truth is, there are so many reasons why someone might not speak up right away. They might be scared of not being believed, or of making things worse. They might be confused about what's happening, or ashamed of letting it go on for so long. They might still care about the person hurting them, or feel like they can handle it on their own. None of these reasons make what happened to them okay. None of them mean they were asking for it, or that they deserved it. But by questioning their actions, we're adding to their pain. We're making them feel like they have to defend themselves, like they did something wrong. So what can we do instead? How can we support someone who's opening up about their trauma without making them feel worse? The key is to listen without judgment, to say things like, "I'm so sorry this happened to you," or "It's not your fault," to let them know that we believe them, that we're there for them, no matter what. We can also educate ourselves about trauma and how it can affect a person's behavior. Baby Reindeer does a great job of showing the complex ways that trauma can play out, from Donny's struggles with intimacy to his seemingly self-destructive behavior. By understanding more about trauma, we can be better equipped to support the people in our lives who have been through it. But Baby Reindeer doesn't just show us the problem, it also hints at a solution. Baby Reindeer isn't just a gripping story, it's a mirror held up to our society, reflecting some of the most pressing issues we face today. Through Donny's struggles, we see the harsh realities of grooming, sexual assault, and the ways our legal system often fails survivors. It's a sad fact that far too many people can relate to Donny's experiences. Studies show that nearly half of gay and bisexual men have faced sexual violence at some point in their lives. Other studies estimate that 1 in 3 women will be the victim of sexual violence during their lives, and for men, the number is 1 in 4. And for many, the response from law enforcement is disappointing at best, re-traumatizing at worst. They're left feeling alone, unheard, and without justice. But Baby Reindeer refuses to let these stories stay in the shadows. By bringing them to the forefront, the series is sparking important conversations about the complex nature of trauma and the behaviors it can lead to. It's shining a light on the ways that predators groom and manipulate their victims and how those scars can last a lifetime. This kind of representation matters. For too long, the realities of sexual violence have been brushed under the rug, especially when it comes to the LGBTQ+ community. But shows like Baby Reindeer are changing that. They're giving a voice to survivors and helping others understand what they've been through. Critics have taken notice, praising the series for its unflinching honesty and nuanced portrayal of trauma. It's not an easy watch, but it's an important one. By confronting these issues head-on, Baby Reindeer is forcing us to have the tough conversations we need to have as a society. And it's not just about awareness, it's about action. The show is a call to do better by survivors, to create a world where they feel supported and believed. It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in ending sexual violence and holding abusers accountable. But Baby Reindeer also gives us hope. Through Donny's journey, we see that healing is possible. We see the power of speaking your truth, of finding support and love in the face of unimaginable pain. We see that even in the darkest of times, there is still light to be found. And the fact that this whole series is based on Richard Gadd's experiences and that he is starring in a series about them, reliving them again, well, I think we can all look at it as his trauma narrative and his own trauma therapy. So let Baby Reindeer be a wake-up call. Let it spur us to action, to create change in our communities. Let it remind us to listen to survivors, to believe them, and to fight for a world where no one has to go through what Donny did. Because in the end, that's what this series is all about. Not just understanding trauma, but working to end it. And if Baby Reindeer has sparked your curiosity about the human mind, keep that momentum going. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel to get the latest and greatest on all things mental health. Make sure to leave your comments or thoughts on the show below, as I'm sure everyone who watched the show has a lot. Thanks for watching, be safe, and be well.